think I can see some people who met me, so that's good. But yeah, in the interest of the rest of the folks, I'll just kind of be short and sweet. I am Pritam Onsker. I am born and brought up in Goa, and Goan by birth and by nature, you can say. I've spent about 21 plus years in the corporate before turning an 100% entrepreneur. Most of my time I have spent with enterprise sales, the B2B sales kind of a environment, and mostly with telcos. Except when I first started my journey, I was with Crompton Greaves, which was an FMCG company. But after that, it has been Hughes Telecom, Reliance Communications, Bharti Airtel, and finally last 11 years with Tata Communications. And in Tata's, however, I had the privilege of doing multiple roles. I was a top talent, identified as top talent. 30 of us got identified as top talent out of total 10,000 people. And we got trained in Amsterdam by a company called as Mercer Consulting from the UK. You must be knowing Mercer, right? And then we had to go through several role changes. My first role change was that I was deputed in Singapore as the head of corporate strategy, right? And my task was building Tata Communications as a brand, as a B2B brand in the top identified cities, out of which countries, sorry, out of which six were in Asia Pac. So basically, we were known there as a service provider company, and we wanted to change that image to become an enterprise company. So that was my first 2 year assignment, overseas in uh, Singapore. After that, I moved back to Mumbai as the head of marketing for India and SAARC, where I was spending a lot of money instead of earning of the company. One of the major things that I did during that stint was, we had this collaboration with CII, and with CII, Tata Communications, we created a platform for digital transformation, which will help a lot of SMEs to adopt digital transformation far more easily. So that was one of the things which happened during my time. I also got awarded as 100 most influential marketers in the country. I got the top marketer award also twice in a row, and so on and so forth. So those were the things that I did. And my final stint was as a head of business for Africa. So I've traveled from west to east to North Africa, some places which you would have not even heard of. That was the time I quit. I quit in April 2020, got relieved only after 9 months in February 2021. So this February 2021, I will complete 1 year as an entrepreneur. But I had started my companies when I was in Singapore. The Tata board allowed me to be on my own startups. So that was a good part. It gave me a headway of about 4 years before I could take the final plunge. I run Taylor Smart, which is a made-to-measure clothing company, which we started in 2016. And then we started another company called Brunch Bites, which is a food delivery company, just like Swiggy and Zomato. But the only difference is that we own our food quality, unlike Swiggy and Zomato, and we are a subscription-based service. So these are the two companies. Plus, I mentor a few others like the Skill Company, iTech Seed, etc., etc. So that's the long and short of me.
Okay. So, what's your company about, the Branch Bites?
So Branchpoint basically does three things. First thing is that we are into industrial kitchens. So if you have heard about a company called as Sodexo, which is a Swedish company, Swiss company, if I'm not wrong. They are into basically managing kitchens within the premises, manufacturing premises of many companies. Plus, they also sometimes manufacture in their own cloud kitchens and deliver to these companies. So that's what we do as our first vertical. We currently do more than about 2,000 meals a day in a small place like Goa, and we've just started Pune as a second market. After Pune, we will go to Chennai and Bangalore, to be more precise. That's the first vertical. Second vertical is a D2C vertical. So where you also can become my customer. You just go onto my app and subscribe to daily, weekly, monthly plans. and those plans you can order using my app. The beauty here is that you know about the menu well in advance because it's a subscription based thing. The other beauty is that if you're ordering 24 meals in a month, you can carry it forward to two more months, right? So a total of 3 months of carry forward is what you get. So you have the flexibility as well as price to be managed within the whole so that we encourage that. We help them to curate the menus which will fit in our boxes that we have. We use the 3CP, 5CP, and 1CP boxes, which are different in nature. And we help them to curate the menu, get the FSSI license, and so on and so forth. So that's the third vertical. So these are the three things which we do under the umbrella of Brunch Bites.
So, hello, sir. I just want to ask you that what is your like main strategy of marketing? Right. You are very good in marketing, as you said. So, I just want to ask you, what's your like what what is your main focus when you're going like
So,
marketing?
so actually, Nisha, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I see
You
you.
know my name. Thank you so
We
much.
met in Goa. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
see, that depends on the product that you sell, right? So, the way I have looked at my products that I promote, I prefer going to the B2B route, right? So basically go to an enterprise and sell to them so that you get with one attack, you get a lot of spread within the employee base, right? If you had to catch those same employees somewhere else, you would have to spend a lot of marketing dollars and a lot of effort as well. So I am a big fan of a B2B kind of a route. Okay. So if you look at my Tailor Smart, we don't do a lot of advertisement on newspapers or hoarding, nothing of that sort. We directly go to, let's say, a persistent systems or a BMC or a Honeywell or an Amdocs, and we put our kiosks there, right? And there we promote our brand, and then they will come to us even for their alterations and things like that. Same is the thing with Brunch Bite as well. So we go to the HR manager, we'll tell them that, okay, this is the service that's available to you. Would you like to offer that as an extra benefit to your employees? I think there is no person who will say no to that. The only difficult part is to get that appointment or meeting with the HR manager, which I think, as you do it more and more often, you kind of fine tune it, and you become great at it. So you start with becoming good and then become great. But yeah, again, this is this commentary that I'm giving you is very product specific, and if the product is a completely consumer based product, then this might not work as well. So it depends on the kind of products that you're looking to launch in the market. This is something that, however, has worked for us in all the products that we sell. So at least I'm associated with five startups, and everywhere it is, going through the B2B channel.
Yeah, correct.
Did I answer?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah,
Any
yeah,
question?
go ahead.
Audience, any question? Anyone else? Okay, no question. So, sir, how about the funding? The funding that you receive as a seed capital. Can you explain about it? Or how did you manage to receive the funding?
Yeah, so that's an interesting one actually. So we have companies which are based out of Maharashtra as well as Goa, and I think what needs to be done here is to understand the ecosystem pretty well of every state, right? So that's the first lesson that I had. The schemes, etc., which were there in Goa were far more better suited for my Goan companies. In Maharashtra being a very large state, the kind of focus that they have also is very different, right? So I would say the first rule is that understand the startup policy of every state in which you are registered. Okay, principal registration, as they call it, where it is done thoroughly. That's rule number one. And there'll be, in every state it is called in a different format. So for example, in Goa it's called the startup promotion cell, which writes all these policies and publicizes it. In Maharashtra it's called the in Maharashtra, it is called the Innovation Board or something else, right? But eventually it's the same. It's your route to getting money from the government. So first understand that. That's the main thing. Second is network with the people who are there, right? If you don't network well, there will be no visibility for you. So when it comes to an approval stage, they'll say ye kaun hai Brunch Bites or ye kaun hai Tailors Mat, right? So if you have to, if you're really aiming to get seed capital from government, then networking becomes a very, very important thing. Like for example, I even network to the level of the chief minister, right? Meaning, of course, he did not approve it alone, but there is a whole committee of 20 members which is there. If in those 20 people, at least 5 or 6 people know your concept, or 5 or 6 people know what you're doing with Brunch Bites, right? Then it makes that much more easier for you to get that approval. But that, I mean, these are the only two things that which are in your control. Rest of the things I think you don't control. Policy they write, the kind of conditions that they have to qualify, etc. So the moment you qualify, start networking, let more and more people know who are in the high power committee or in the committee that is going to approve, to ensure that your when your name pops up, they kind of say that, okay, we know the concept, it looks good, and let's go ahead with it.
Oh, I guess we got one question from Sandeep. He is saying that how to disrupt an existing market.
Not updating actually.
Hello, sorry, say again.
Yes, how to disrupt an existing market. One question from Sandeep.
Hear me? I think you're, yeah, you are getting interrupted, but I heard your question where you said that what do you do to disrupt the market, right?
How to
Now,
disrupt an existing market. Yes.
if Sandeep can just come up and clarify his question a bit, then I can answer. If you ask me generally, I can give you a general answer, which is like a disruption like Geo, right? That is one commonly used example. But I want to be more specific. So if Sandeep can tell me what market is he talking about, what product he is talking about, then I can help him more.
I think he is talking about your product. About he may talking about like Brunch Bites, what you are delivering to the school student.
Okay, I can definitely talk about
I
Brunch
guess
Bite.
that actually.
Yeah, so okay, giving example of Brunch Bite, I think the disruption is in looking at where the gaps are, right? So how many of these large players are actually saying, we will own the quality for you of the food, or we'll own the hygiene of the food for you. What they do is they pick up from one location and they'll just drop to your door location. That's it. So they are like a courier service, right? There is no ownership of the quality of the food that is coming from an A player, and there is no ownership of the hygiene as well. We have said that, boss, we are trying to capture that as a niche, right? Where we are saying that, okay, every time you order food from me, you can be rest assured that it's coming from a hygienic place, and the quality of the food is maintained, or is monitored. So these are the two things. So you'll have to find your niche. What is your niche, to make sure that you are positioned differently than the large giants which are there. If I had to go and compete with these large giant in exactly the way they are doing business, I can never do it, right? But today, if I'm creating that niche in the market, with the corporates especially, it is because of that. I am offering them, like, let's say, a Bengali menu which comes from a Bengali cloud kitchen. I am offering them a South Indian menu which is coming from a South Indian cloud kitchen. I am offering them a Parsi menu which is coming from a Parsi kitchen. So these are different kitchens which we had to hunt for. मुझे अगर एक one Bengali kitchen के साथ type करना है, I have to look for 10 different kitchens, right? So the beauty is here, right? So a lot of times, lot of cloud kitchens try to do a lot of cuisines all by themselves. So वो लोग पंजाबी भी करेंगे, साउथ इंडियन भी करेंगे, चाइनीज भी करेंगे, सब कुछ करेंगे, राइट? एक ही किचन में, और एक ही शेफ बनाएगा. So obviously there is no perfection in it, right? But if you look at some of the other cloud kitchens, there are some specific cloud kitchens who only do specific cuisines. So we picked up as that as our niche. I'll give you another example, which we say is kind of a niche, right? So school के टिफिन्स डब्बे जो बच्चे स्कूल टिफिन्स लेके जाते, so we surveyed those tiffins कि वो क्या लेके जाते हैं. So common thing that you would find is bread butter, bread jam, cheese bread, और उसके साथ एक केला या apple sometimes cut किया हो या नहीं, but these are the common things. इसमें क्या होता था? See, the two things used to happen, right? One is that the mother is always stressed because she's working this, that, and dabba bana ke dena. She's investing a lot of time on that, right? That's first thing. Second thing, the food that she's giving is neither nutritious nor colorful, nor appetizing for the kids. In a week, we have seen that if the guy is going to a school for, let's say, 6 days, at least 2 days he would come without eating the tiffin, right? So which is because of the kind of boredom that creeps into that dabba and all that. So we said, okay, let's change the whole expectation of the kids. So we started giving them mini burgers, right? Ciders. Now we changed the patty from becoming a very heavy fried patty to becoming a beetroot patty, so which was red in color. We started giving them halwa, but we started giving them ragi ka halwa, so which was brown in color. So our tiffins looked far more appealing, far more colorful, and it saved a lot of time for the mothers also, right? So in the first month only, we started doing 400 tiffins in a small place like Goa. So that in my mind is the disruption, right? So you will have to find your sweet spot to disrupt. You can't disrupt if you don't find that sweet spot. That's why I asked, what is the product? Like Jio, right? Jio ne kya kiya? They said that, boss, we are very clear that we can make money in the business if we get an average revenue per line of 150 rupees, right? When most of the people, which is your Airtel and Vodafone, etc., were sitting on a revenue of about 230 or 250 rupees. They said even if we make 150 rupees ka revenue with more number of subscribers, we'll be able to get the what you could say, required disruption. So that is exactly what they did. They first rolled out the whole network. They went and gave 70 rupees, 180 rupees, etc., so that the required ARPU. And today, if you go to see their average, because of the kind of service they've been able to give, people have hooked on to more videos now. People who used to give missed calls before are now watching videos, right? Pehle kya karte the? They would say, you call me back, by just giving a missed call, right? They would not invest that money. Today they are not just calling, but they are making video calls. That's the reality. That has changed. And now, after doing that, now they are even getting more money. So if you look at their plans now, their average revenue per line is nothing less than $200. और आप TRAI के वेबसाइट पे जाके देखो, हमारा actual revenue per line has dropped to some 130 rupees or whatever, but Reliance का revenue per line has gone to 200 rupees. So that's smart disruption. In my view, that's the kind of they found their sweet spot. Their sweet spot was scale. They didn't bother about rich customers. They didn't go to fat people who are already spending a lot of money. They gave the phone to a rickshaw. They gave a phone to a watchman. They said, "मेरे को scale चाहिए," right? So that was their sweet spot. So it depends on the product basically, but there is always a sweet. So the bottom line is that there is always a sweet spot through which you can enter and disrupt the market, even if you have established players in that market. Have I answered, Deepak?
Yes, fine. Well, I guess Saif answered. He had a question. He raised his hand. So Saif, can you please ask the question?
Go.
Yes.
Go for it, Saif.
Yes. Hi. So it was actually like when you were talking about the seed fund and it was going in the flow, but now I got a very good insight on.
Go ahead. I'll bring it back on the flow.
Sure.
Saif, go ahead with your question.
Yes.
No problem. Even if it is about seed fund, let's take it.
Cool. So just wanted to understand about like when you were talking about like getting funds from for your as a seed fund, getting funds from government. So wanted to understand what was it? Was it like as a grant or as a debt? Was it under Seed Fund India scheme? I mean, I'm sorry, like I joined.
No.
Late, so I missed out your introduction. So that sorry about that. If you've taken that.
No. This is So this is not Seed Fund India. Seed Fund India also is available, and a lot of Goan companies managed to get it this time. So that's the next thing that actually Brunch Bites can go for. But this was specifically by government of Goa. This was a government
Okay.
of Goa startup promotion cell initiative. So this is not coming from seed startup
Hmm.
seed fund India.
Central
No.
government. Okay. Okay.
So
Cool. Cool.
there is another additional 20 lakhs to take from that.
Yes, as a grant, right? Which you don't
Exactly.
have to repay.
Exactly.
And up
This
to
is also
70
a grant.
lakhs.
This is also a grant. We don't have to
Okay.
repay this money also. But you're right. So there is additional 20 lakhs that you can take as a grant from government of India. You're right.
And 50 lakhs of debt that you can repay in 5 years, right? So what do you feel
Correct.
like, I mean, just I had just like 3 meetings today on a same line. Discussed this with three different service providers who are helping businesses to take their shot with fundraising. Okay, so I got this clarity that
Okay.
about about the age of the company. So do you think like the age of the company, the age of establishment, the tenure of establishment? So I'm being discouraged for applying for any of the government grants or any of the government fundraising scheme based on the date of establishment. Okay. So do you think does the
What is the
age
date of
matter
establishment?
based on the grounds of being a company less than a year old?
Nahin, yaar, you please go ahead and do it. See, it's nothing to do with date of establishment, according to me. It's more to do with how big is the problem that you're solving, right? So what is the problem that you're solving is obviously the first question, and how big is the problem, right? So when I say that, what is the market size that you're going to get into? Most of the people, there are just 2 or 3 questions that they'll ask you. One is what's the problem you're solving. Second is how big is the problem. Third is why do you think that you are the best person suited to solve the problem, right? That's the third thing that people will ask you. And then they'll ask you what is your strategy or service. So if you look at the sequence, I think the whole concept of service, product, etc., comes maybe fourth or fifth, right? So it's less
True.
important. Yeah. So first is look at the problem that you're solving, then look at how big that problem is, then whether you are the best suited person to solve that problem and why, right? You
Okay.
have the exposure, expertise, you have the zeal, whatever it is, but you could be the right person to solve it. Then that, and then what is the product or something service that you're going to bring in which will solve that problem. That is how they look at it. And of course, if you go to a PE level funding, they'll see whether you've taken loans. Are
Check.
they going to
Check. Hello, is
can
it
you
my
hear me?
internet?
Can you
Hello.
guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we
Okay.
can
I
hear.
think, yeah, I think I am audible. Maybe Saif, you'll have to fix your
Okay,
internet.
so
No worries.
I
So
believe
what
it
I'm
is
saying,
my internet. Yes. Yes, yes. Please continue.
yeah, I'll just continue. So what I was saying is that if you have these parameters very clearly defined, I don't think so anybody will stop you from funding. There is no way that anyone can stop you from funding, getting funds. That is
Perfect. Thank you so much for this insight. And just to add to this, I actually got accepted in 2 incubator centers today itself.
wow.
One is Zartup and one is Viridian.
Very nice.
Viridian Accelerator Center. So can you suggest me if you know anything about any of these? Could you suggest me anything on this?
Not really. I don't know both these accelerators so well, so I will not comment on how good, bad, ugly they can be.
Okay.
But it's always good to experience working with accelerators, because that will also bring you a lot of insights into things that you shouldn't do, right? A lot of people will tell you, like I am telling you, the things you should do, but accelerators will also tell you things which you should not do, which are, I think, more important. So I think you'll have a good enriching experience there, not to worry.
Okay, and just one last thing. One of the accelerator program, which is well renowned, which I did a little background check on, and they're asking, they're promoting that we want you to have the autonomy of your venture, so we do not charge you the equity, just like how other incubation centers. So we do take a one-time program fee of 30K plus GST. So do you think like this is a legit way to go ahead with an incubation center, or because like
some
if
have.
they're
Yeah, go
yes,
ahead.
yes, sorry, please continue.
No, you finish your question. Sorry. Go
Because
ahead.
like once I don't mind, we don't mind diluting 6%, 7%, whatever the industry standard is, because like if that 6% becomes say 6 million, so that is when they benefit, right? That is when they grow. With our growth they grow, and that will be their motivation to help us grow. This one time program fee puts me off a little, because it is like something very untraditional, according to what I have heard of before. And also it does not show me the motivation for the incubation center to work on me, right?
No.
So that is
So I think see, different companies have different models. So one time fee also so many equities, right? So if they have, let's say 30 startups in one batch, 30 लोगों का एक batch का equity manage करना, then the next 30 batch people will come. So it's, I think, more to do, what more you have to do to decide on this is to do a background check, right? And background check not from the references which they have listed on their website or which is there on Google, against their Google presence. All I'm saying is find out people who have actually gone through this thing through some source or whatever, and then talk to them, right? And take a neutral feedback before you can enroll. But there's nothing right or wrong about the one-time, model also, because there are so many accelerators I know at least who don't charge equity but charge only one time.
Yeah, fine.
It doesn't mean that they are bad. It's just the model that they are operating on. Just get a good reference. That's it.
okay, perfect. And one last thing, sorry, audience, for costing you this time and taking your platform. Just one thing,
Sure.
Prita. Using the Berkus method through the evaluator, my 3 month, this is like, 1 year old startup, which has been registered 3 months ago. So this on paper 3 months old startup has been valued using Berkus method for $2 million. So what do you feel like for the age and for the kind of our startup? Do you like? I mean,
You have any
I
revenues? You have
sorry.
any revenues?
So yes, we do have a revenue, but the model that we are working for, the main model that we are like projecting for, that is that we are working on to build.
So, to be very honest, valuation is a very lengthy conversation, right? It
Okay.
has so many elements to it. So I will not say whether it is right or wrong. There are companies at an ideation stage which got valued at 10 lakhs, 10 million, 100 millions, etc. So it's a conversation that is very detailed and very specific to a company, right? Because what you have projected as your roadmap for the next 3 years is what define what your valuation is, right? Having a is an additional validation to that particular valuation, because what it means is that you have moved up the curve from building an MVP to actually getting revenue from some of your paying customers. A lot of people do MVP and then they have customers, but they are all non-paying customers. उसका कुछ मेरे हिसाब से तो उसका कुछ मतलब नहीं है. You have to actually make the customer spend the dollar who believes in your product or service.
Perfect. Thank you so much for all the insight, and sorry guys for taking so much time. Please continue.
Okay, so we got question from Pratik Ingel. His question is, what are the skills that are required for young entrepreneurs?
Skills required for entrepreneurs is the question. Young entrepreneur. Okay. I think there is only one skill that is required, okay, which is you should be able to articulate and express your idea thoroughly. Okay, if you are not able to do it, then you know you may be the best scientist. Okay, your invention may be the best, but if you are not able to express or articulate about that invention, I think the plot is
Nobody
lost,
will
right?
understand.
Yeah. So a lot of time I tell people, right? So maybe you have the best product and best service and best idea, but sometimes it so happens that you may not be the person to drive it, right? So you'll have to get a person who can actually take the front seat along with you and drive it for you. ये भी होता है. So the only skill in my view that young, because see coding, all the other hard skills, if you are let's say a deep tech kind of a company, coding and the other hard skills you will anyways learn, right? And you may be superb at it. But the whole problem is when it comes to expressing when it comes to explaining to people as to what that idea is, how it's going to grow, etc., etc. So that is something that you should spend your maximum time and energy. And just that's the only thing that we trust me.
Yeah, I just wanna tell you something, Pritam sir, that what Ansari was asking about, like funding and all. So you can suggest him like about fire and a startup plane. We met them in Goa.
Yeah, so there are many.
He's also like giving 30,000 per month as a stipend to young startups and all. He can apply there also.
Yeah. There are many. I'm putting some names in the chat.
For you.
There is
Thank you so much, Raj.
You can apply for like fire or a startup plane. A startup plane is also very good. Fire is also very good. You can go for that also.
For
Yes,
Nidhi and for IIT Mandi Incubator Center, so we were getting this, as you said, like 30,000 say per month they're giving. But my problem is my company is not a tech-driven company. So they want tech innovation in that. So I was not eligible for that. But these would definitely be helpful if they are sector agnostic, and I definitely make use of it. Thank you so much, Nesh.
yeah.
So Founder Institute is something that I run in Goa. So Founder Institute again is accelerator based out of San Francisco, Bay Area, and we have opened the Goa chapter for it. I lead that chapter along with Priyanka Rao, who is my co-lead. Now that is also something that you can look at if you're looking at a global mentorship. So what you get with that is a global mentorship, and global exposure. So that's something also you can look at. We are going to start our first batch on 22nd of March. So currently that's going on. So I have put all the three names in the chat.
Perfect. Thank
Have
you
a
so
look
much.
at that, and we can
And
see
since you run,
also. Yeah.
Founder
So there is one second. There is one. 1 minute. Give me 30 seconds. Yeah, you can ask. You can ask question till then. Yeah.
right, I was saying, since you run this incubation center, the chapter of incubation center in Goa, you can probably shed some light on YC, like the students, and we would love to get your insights on YC.
I do not have so much of exposure to YC, so it'll be wrong on my part to kind of comment on that. So I'll pass this question actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we got another question from Sandeep.
Sure.
That is how to do a tech startup without tech background.
As I said, get somebody who has the tech background. No, that's I think the best way. Because are you referring to any particular thought, idea, or something that you have in your mind?
Sandeep, can you explain?
Sandeep?
Yes, Sandeep is saying affirmative. He has an idea.
Yeah, what's the idea that he's talking about?
Yes, yes. Sandeep, please unmute and ask the question. That would be better.
Can you throw some more light?
He's not audible.
Yeah, actually.
I think he is not listening us. Hello, Sandeep.
Then can I ask my question?
Yes, yes, sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, I wanted to know about the subscription of Brunch Bites. How does it work?
Yeah, so you simply download the app. There is an app that you have to download, and you can go for your daily, weekly, or monthly subscription for lunch, for your breakfast, dinner. And there is a fixed timing when it will get delivered. So if it is your breakfast, it will get delivered to you before 9 o'clock. If it is your lunch, it gets delivered between 12:30 to 1:30. If it's your dinner, it gets delivered between 7:30 to 8:30. Right? And just you download the app, depending on whether you're in Goa or in Pune, you can just order it from the
And
app.
how it's different from Swiggy and Zomato?
That's what I said, right? Swiggy and Zomato, they will not own the quality of the food that they serve you, right? Ours is a fixed menu, and our kitchens are selected through a very rigorous SOP that we have for them. And all the kitchens that we work with, we maintain the hygiene quality. There is a supervisor of mine who goes at 6 a.m. in the morning to check all the kitchens that we have tied up with, right? And he does a random check, so he will not tell you which kitchen is going to come first. So these are some of our ways to make sure that the hygiene and the quality of the food is always maintained. So I don't have like 10 kitchens who will do like North Indian food for me. No, I'll just have maybe one or two kitchens, right? Or I'll just not have like 10 kitchens who will do Bengali meals for me. It's just one or two kitchens, which have been chosen by a rigorous process by going to 20 other kitchens, right? So these are some of the things that we maintain as a part of this thing. You'll be surprised, but I have customers who are like 4-year-old having a monthly meal with me from when we started, and they continue even today. Normal scenario में तो bore हो जाते थे ना, if the food is coming from the same this thing, but because we make menus in such a way that every 15-20 days we change the menu, we don't give them this back, etc., etc., makes it more interesting for you to order on a longer period with us.
So one question is running in my mind, and that is, since because you have selected one or two kitchens only, right? For one like South Indian or whatever food is that. So how do you maintain the distance? Like how do you generate the revenue of like distance maintained by you? Like that will cost you, like, understand ना? जितना दूर होगा उतना ज्यादा कॉस्ट तो बढ़ेगा ना लेके जाने में. उसको
Yes.
कैसे मेंटेन करते हैं? Like your price is fixed like 130 for one meal, but how do you maintain like the customer is like far distant, like 10-kilometer distant from your kitchen? So how do you maintain
Swiggy,
that?
Zomato, for example, has got a 6-kilometer radius, right?
Yeah.
We don't have that radius. We
Yeah,
have
that is my question actually.
yeah. So we have like it's not that we don't have, but our radius is extended. We go up to 12 kilometers or so, double of what Swiggy goes. Now, what it does to me is that because mine is a subscription based, the entire sequence that comes to me for the food delivery comes in advance, right? So I can plan better. So it's all on the number of food parcels that one guy can deliver, correct? So what we have done is we have even created bags in such a way that it can carry 40 trays at a time. So once he goes, he's actually taking 40 meals. So my economics of per what you could say delivery partner works far better than Swiggy and Zomato. Yeah, because he doesn't have to come back to take those 40 meals. तो रात को मुझे सुबह का breakfast का already मेरे पास डंप पड़ा हुआ है, मैंने उसका रूट प्लान ऑलरेडी प्लान कर दिया. So somebody is taking 30 meals, somebody is taking 40 meals in one go. So which means that the efficiencies are better. He doesn't have to even come back to the kitchen.
Is that also planned by you every day, or you have
No. So
like...
we have a supervisor who does that.
Okay, yeah.
But what we are looking at is we are already talking to one startup in Bangalore who is into a logistics space. So they are going to develop this whole thing for us. So the backend will all get automated in few days.
Fine.
I have
Is there any parameter to assure the customer about the hygiene and quality?
Yeah, so see, quality is something that I think the numbers will tell you. So if 10 people are, so it's a dipstick. So if 10 people are ordering, if those 10 people may say 7 people at least order back, means you're doing a very good job, not decent. So so that is the way to see this thing. There's no physical method through which people will tell you. And hygiene is something that I think once you open the packet itself, you will know that it is nicely, neatly packed. There's no spilling happening. There is no bal in your curry. All those things. So, these are some of the things that you'll have to always this thing. If somebody wants to visit your kitchen, we are free. You don't even have to tell us. You just can walk into our kitchens. You see that everybody is wearing a cap always. The washing area is very. So if washing area is in the west, the cooking area is in the east. The chopping area is completely different. So those are some of the things which we make sure before we sign up with a kitchen. And even an individual customer, corporate to aate hi hai, because that is a must do for them to maintain their own standards. But otherwise, any individual also can walk into my kitchens anytime that they wish.
Okay, I guess Shahil Shah has a question.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir, yes.
Okay, Shahil has a question, that is, what if someone only have an idea, then how can she or he make an appropriate team of people to execute that idea?
Okay, so whose idea is it? Let me ask.
Shahil asked this question.
Sir,
Shahil
it's of mine. It's of mine, sir.
Science idea, right? So who is going
Yes.
to make a list of people that is needed to implement that idea? It's Sahil. So he will make a list कि मुझे क्या क्या चाहिए, मुझे एक coder चाहिए, एक अच्छा marketer चाहिए. What are the things? Okay, 5 things that I need. Out of these 5 things, what are the 2 things that I can do or I can contribute, right? For the other 3 things, I need these relevant people, and then you'll have to find these relevant people to come on board. So if the idea is yours, nobody can even tell you, what is needed to execute that idea. Correct? Yes, you may need good people to have it executed because you may not have everything in you. If there are 5 things that you need, so you may be a fantastic coder, but you don't want to put your hands into marketing, or you don't know marketing, or you don't know sales. It's okay. It's fine. But then you make that list of 4 or 5 people who will make this a success, and then accordingly create your team.
Okay.
And to find a team, sorry.
Okay. I said okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, anyone else? Any question? Okay, Sanyukta Rawat has a question, that is, so can we consider that the pandemic situation has been a plus point for your startup, especially if we consider the second wave condition that we all witnessed last year in April? So the pandemic, has it been a plus point for your startup?
Unfortunately, yes, it is. You're absolutely right, Sanyukta. That is when I quit my job also, because I thought that I had a purpose now in my life. So April 2020, I actually quit, because by then we were already serving a lot of COVID patients, right? If you see, my partners or my boys were the only boys in Goa who were on the road. And I used to get messages from a wife who used to say, I am at home, and my husband, my daughter, my in-laws are both locked up in some hospital, and you need to send them food. And when we send them food continuously for 15-20 days till the time they were discharged, the kind of blessings that we would get is not a joke, right? I mean, this is one just case I'm telling you. We had several cases that we had to deal with. We did some social work also, and obviously I don't want to call the social work that I do. I believe that if you do social work, it has to be anonymous. You can't take mileage out of it. So that part also we did, but more importantly, I think we were impacting life, right? We were impacting where it mattered the most. Food is one of the things which is the primary need, right, of a human being. So we were making an impact there. So that's why we thought that, and obviously the numbers also went up 3 times, 4 times. So it could have not been possible for me also to be in my job and try to do that, though I had the approval from Tata board. So I decided to quit. So in the sense, you're absolutely right that it was a boom for us.
Okay. So anyone else, any question? You can ask. Bharti ma'am, do you have any question? Okay, I guess no question. So, okay, one more question from me. That is, nowadays it is trending that in order to become a successful entrepreneur, you need to work at least 16 to 18 hours per day, especially in YouTube. A lot of motivational speakers and entrepreneurs say that you have to work at least 18 hours a day. So do you believe in that ideology that you have to work so much to build a successful business?
Somebody told me your house should be on fire to be successful. किसी ने तो मुझे बोला that you should be in a situation where if you don't succeed you will be thrown out of your house, you'll have no money you'll have to live on the streets. So unfortunately for me, I don't have a story to tell like that, to be very honest. So
Yeah, you told that.
मैं किसी light pole के नीचे मैंने कोई पढ़ाई नहीं की और किसी स्टेशन पे नहीं सोया. So that's the sorry. So that's not my story. I don't have that story and I'm not going to tell it. What I can definitely tell you is it's never important whether you're in a corporate job or you're in a startup. It's never important how many hours you work, right? When you have to work, if you're passionate about something, if you have to work for 20 hours, you'll work for 20 hours. Nobody has to tell you that. The fact that, people tell you, motivational speakers tell you that, you have to burn your ass. Oh, sorry to use that word, but you have to do that. I feel it is a little too exaggerated. It is not real in some sense. Simply, I'm not calling them wrong or right or whatever, but I'm just giving you my opinion. But in my view, if you have selected a role for yourself, right, and you think that that's going to be your contribution to a startup, then do that well, right? And for that, if you have to do 3 things, 4 things, 5 things in a day, you must do it. And if it takes 8 hours or 2 hours, it is upon your smartness, your efficiency, the way you are built as a human being. So I would not prescribe that you need 16 hours or 18 hours. It's for you to decide how many hours will make sure that the responsibility that you have accepted, you will fulfill it to the fullest. I'll give you my own example, right? I am directly involved with 5 startups, right? 2 of which I am the founder and 3 of which I'm supporting as a mentor. In every startup, my role is consistent, except for Brunch Bites, because I lost 2 of my partners. They had to focus on something else. So my last partner quit in 2019 and I brought my wife as a director, where now in Brunch Bites, we practically do everything between 2 of us. But in other companies, my role is restricted to just these few things, which is marketing, which is your PR, alliances, and strategy, right? These are the 4 things that I do in the rest of the company. As far as the operations is concerned, it is managed by somebody else. As far as sales is concerned, it is managed by somebody else. Why am I not doing the sales? While I come from a sales background, because there's somebody else who is already doing a good job, or through some of my guidance, he's able to do a good job, right? So decide what your role in the startup, which is very important, right? If each one of you don't have that, if 10 of you are working together, let's assume, and 10 of you don't have the role clarity, हर एक ने क्या contribute करना चाहिए startup के लिए, so then it doesn't work, right? So that will decide as to how much time you have to give, what is the kind of deliverables that you have to have, etc., etc. It's nothing to do with initially you have to work 16 hours, or थोड़ा सा पैसा आने के बाद या थोड़ा revenue आने के बाद you can stop working 16 hours and work only 10 hours. That doesn't work. It's a consistent effort. because अभी आपको ने 100 करोड़ का कंपनी बनाया, उसको आपको 1000 करोड़ का भी तो बनाना है ना. So what will you say after you get a funding of, let's say 20-30 million? Will you say no, I'm not going to work 16 hours, I'm going to work only 10 hours? वो तो होता नहीं है. So it's up to you how much you absorb and use it.
So as you said that before starting your startup, you had about 20 years of corporate experience. So do you believe that in order to start a startup or start a business, a person has to have some experience in corporate world, like for 5 to 10 years? Is it necessary, or he or she can do it without any experience too?
There are people who have done it without experience, but I am an advocate of having an experience. Right? I think that it's very, very important to understand how a company functions, right? From a perspective that the product line that you're going to launch or whatever, you should know what are the departments which are there, what's the kind of effort that each of the department brings to the table. There are some people who will come and say, you know what, HR department is only there to celebrate birthdays and cut cakes and do Diwali decoration, right? But that's not that. I mean, they bring in the right resource. As somebody was asking another question about the roles and responsibilities and those kind of things, or getting the right people to do the job. Who does that for you, right? So there has to be a level of understanding of the kind of company that you want to build, and for that, experience is a must. But having said that, it's not that people who didn't have experience have not succeeded. They have succeeded too.
Okay. For anyone else, any question? Any more questions?
We can maybe take last 1 or 2 because we are just, I think, nearing our
Yes,
deadline.
5 more minutes left about. Okay, so one last
I
question.
can drop my LinkedIn so that if you have any questions, you can drop it for me. I'll drop my LinkedIn ID. Yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah, you can ask questions till then.
Yes, one last question from me. That is, why do you think most of the startups fail? 90% of all startups fail. So why is it so?
Sorry, say again.
So why is it that more than 90% of startups fail?
That data is openly available. I think it's only because of execution. If there is no focus on the execution, the startups fail. A lot of people build their execution strategy on very heavy capex, capital expenditure. They'll say, okay, I need so much space for the office, I need so much space for the factory, etc., etc. And a lot of it actually is built on capex. Most of the companies which are successful and the only reason for that is they were able to execute fearlessly without being bothered about the kind of salaries or rent that they have to pay. So my single line, or if you go to Google and read most of the reports, they are very clear. They say it very clearly that it is all execution. 95% of the startups fail because of bad execution. So get the right people who can execute for you, get the right model of execution, which is, in my view, is a capex light model, slightly opex heavy kind of model. And then if you get your execution right, you can never fail. It is not about the product, it is not about the service, it is not about the person, it is not just pure simple execution. If you focus on your execution, you are done.
Okay, so that's the right answer. So anyway, I guess we are running out of time now. So anyway, thank you, sir, for joining. It was a great session with you.
My pleasure. It was lovely talking to you guys, meeting most of some of you at least that I see. I met you.
No, me and Bharti ma'am, only two of us.
Yeah. So yeah, correct. All the other names seem to be new to me, but lovely catching up with all of you, and hope whatever small little chat we had was of use to you guys, and something that will help you to grow your startups. So all the very best.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good
Thank you
night.
so much.
My pleasure. Right. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.